So greetings to all, this is Pawan and today we have Colonel Atul Kochhar with us, who is the founder of the IPKF veteran group and he's a veteran of Op Pawan. Thank you very much for your time and consideration, sir. And it makes me ask that what has been the entire journey and genesis of the IPKF veterans group and how did you came up with the concept and you approached it?
Thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to avail your platform. Now, it was in 1988 to 89 that I was in Sri Lanka with my unit 1st Jackli. We were deployed in Trincomalee and Batticaloa, that is the eastern part of it. So, without going into the details of the genesis of the problem of the Sri Lankan issues, the time we were deployed in Batticaloa, we had just moved in 1989 January. And we had an officer casualty by the name 2nd Lieutenant Sandhu Mahavir Chakra. He got his Mahavir Chakra much later, about 2 years later. Anyway, that thing remained in my mind that why this gap? And then Op Pawan, usually awards were given overnight in many cases, just to assuage feelings in many cases. Now that chapter was over, I came back to India, and somewhere around 2019 something again egged me on about finding out a little more about 2nd Lieutenant Sandhu, who got Mahavir Chakra there. And the young officer lost his life while warding off LTT militants who had ambushed him and who had come to snatch away his rifle. The moment they came close to him, even after his legs were shot up by an RPG, he managed to fire a burst of his carbine and injure and kill one of them. So that was that part of the story. Now later I came to know that his parents had donated their entire property to 7 Assam, that is the unit from which he belongs to. Then it sent me thinking that this gentleman gave his life for the nation. His parents have already donated the property to 7 Assam, and what the nation has done for them. Why not? We are not even commemorating this Operation Pawan, which was unique. I'll come to that later. So I discussed with few of my batchmates. One was Colonel Shrish, another was Colonel Saxena, and I said, "Bhai, this Op Pawan, it doesn't find a mention anywhere, though there have been some books. And we need to get together as veterans and discuss what happened in this and why are we not being commemorated at par with 71 and Kargil." So there sprung the idea, and today our group is strong of 140 veterans, and we are tackling the various legacy issues on our own without any institutional support. That's it.
And so you mentioned about the legacy issues. So what are the exact challenges that the legacy of Op Pawan is currently facing, and how are you tackling?
See, there are a number of things. We tried to approach some authorities also. We approached General Narwane when he was chief. We requested him to have a long look at our wish list, which we, the veterans of Op Pawan, felt had not been given our due. And we got a reply, all right, but that was not a committed reply. It was just, okay, we will look into it. Of course, General Narwane retired early this year, and that was the end of the matter. We got no further communication except that we will look into it. So now we have also requested Rashtra Mantri also to lay the wreath. That was on 29 July, the signing of the Indo-Sri Lankan Peace Accord. That was in 1987 to mark that day, but well, we did not get any response from him. Now the sad part is there have been about 6 chiefs, including one from Navy and Air Force, who were Op Pawan veterans, and 4 army chiefs, but they have also not done anything to help our cause or push it further, which is very surprising. In all these operations, there is a time when we discuss what happened, how it happened, and who is to be blamed. But that time passes on. After some time, you have to look at the legacy of the next of kin who are left behind and those who are badly wounded. You would be aware that the improvised explosive device, IED as we call now, made its entry in Sri Lanka. It caused horrendous casualties, and it left people maimed. Even now, the people who are having such injuries, the small metal pieces come out of the skin and they suffer from it because nothing can be done. Serving Major General Dharmarajan, who was there in the IPKF commemoration, he has a battle casualty and he has a small splinter close to his heart. He's been living at that for 30 years, more than 30 years now. So it hurt us as a group that we were not being commemorated nationally in the way we should be. We have also approached General V.K. Singh now and requested him to help us out. He was also an Op Pawan veteran. He's been a former chief, and in his book Courage and Conviction, he has written that I will try to redress and help the IPKF because he knew what the tough job it was, and we are hopeful of getting a positive response. Now, as far as the uniqueness of this operation is concerned, it was the first out of country experience.
Right.
Usually our forces have been doing well. That is in the UN peacekeeping mode, large number of missions. We have done pretty well on that, and we earned a very good reputation as being very sound in our approach to these issues. So this was, however, a national mandate. It was done purely by India, and it was done with the intent of protecting a strategic interest, that is Sri Lanka, in which everybody was having an eye, from China, some Israel, Pakistan, and host, and US also having some of the other strategic interests. I will not go into the detail, but that was the background to it. Now, secondly, it was a very difficult task. We were supposed to be guarantors between the Sinhalese and Tamils, and to ensure peace happens and create the conditions for some kind of elections and hold them apart.
Right.
In the bargain, what happened was the accord was drawn up a bit messy. It was a messy accord. It was not a binding accord. And what happened was that we riled up the Sinhalese. Then the Tamil population, who were we were to prop up and give them this thing. They were also not happy with us, and both our governments also messed it up. That is, the Sri Lankan government also messed it up. At some time they were giving LTT information and wanting covertly pushing them against us, egging them on. The Indian government political aim was highly confused. So you can see the dynamics. All this created a khichdi, and the end result was the poor soldier who lost his life there. We had 1171 killed and about 3,500 badly wounded who came back. Now, apart from this, the uniqueness of this operation has to be understood. It was testing ground for the IL-76 aircraft. We had got it just a few years before that, around 84. The T-72 tanks, the BMPs also, and of course the Mi-25 attack hepter, or Akbar as it was called. At that time in the Afghanistan, it had been used in Afghanistan by the Russians extensively. So these weapons, they were to be tested here. It was a testing ground. So that is the unique part of this operation. Otherwise, battle testing doesn't happen every now and then. Now, next is about the joint operations. There were even a joint operation involving all three. There was one naval operation involving Air Force and Army, and capturing of an island north of Jaffna. So it was a joint service operation also. In actual combat, apart from the pure induction, which is a massive effort, the induction had some very funny experiences. When we were to come from, we were flown in from Guwahati to Madras before being pumped into Sri Lanka. So that time they have the fixed loads. IL takes about 70 tons including the fuel. Right. So you have to limit your loads. So we did that, and when you came to Madras, their problem was little different. The ship doesn't go unless it has certain tonnage of weight. So we had to stick on for some time till our heavy loads fetched up through the train all the way from Guwahati to Madras. So these were some peculiar logistic problems there. Then of course we moved by ship from this place Madras to Trincomalee. Trincomalee is a very well-known harbour, internationally renowned harbour, a natural harbour, and it had a lot of oil tanks, and in Second World War it was a well-known storage base for the British. Now coming to the magnanimity of the effort, it was really at a very huge scale. We shipped around more than 1 lakh tons of goods by using our ships or hired ships. The Navy's effort was massive. It is not known, but there was a massive effort behind it. As far as the Air Force was concerned, they carried out 70,000 sorties, which is the highest in such a span of little under 3 years. It's a well-known fact, but these are the lessons which are there for us. Now all the special forces, they operated under one commander, which is the model they want to finally adopt. So the SF special forces also learnt a lot there. They refined their drills, they did well there, they took horrendous casualties because of LTT's expertise with mines and because of large scale of their employment. In some places they are to be used surgically, but as it happened, they were used all over. Now the Navy also, they use their Marcos, that is the Marine Commandos also, to sanitize the ports and make them fit, and in some cases blast or destroy the LTT boats or their assets. So this is what makes the operation unique. This is why I say it has to be studied in detail. There are books, but I'll come to that legacy issue what we are looking at. Now as far as the legacy issues, I'll put them point by point. Firstly, we are seeking the official recognition and commemoration at par with 71 war and Kargil operations. Let's be very clear, when you commemorate somebody, you commemorate him. You are not talking about a celebration. Commemoration, what we want is commemoration at the National War Memorial under aegis of the government.
Right.
You see, 62 war operation also, that war is forgotten. We lost about 3,000 soldiers in that. So they poor guys have been literally done in. I'm telling you, an ungrateful nation. And similarly, we will not want that the IPKF also face the same kind of fate. And 62, when we wrote to Chief, we mentioned, please, even 62 war, give them this thing, commemorate them. Whether loss or victory is one thing, but the spirits and the souls of the soldiers who are killed there, how they will get their satisfaction. There are so many next of kin now. They are their children, next generation, who look forward to this. And last month when we had the commemoration, the mother of Second Lieutenant Bedi, Veer Chakra, she was overwhelmed. She said, I am just overwhelmed that you people have done this. That was a private thing. That was a second commemoration which we have done. And there we have some constraints. No bugle. It will be silent ceremony. I mean, that doesn't work out. As a democracy, as a mature democracy, we got to move forward. Acknowledge the, this thing, contribution of the soldier, and commemorate him appropriately. Celebration is separate. You don't want to celebrate it. You feel it was a loss, or you feel it was stalemated, or it was a setback. That's another issue. You don't celebrate it like you do Vijay Devas. You have this, you have 2-3 functions, but commemoration at the memorial. Otherwise, why did you make the memorial? His name is there, you don't want to commemorate.
To the bare minimum at least.
Yeah, bare minimum has to be done, precisely our point. Now, there are other points also. There is, I tried searching the websites and the net for the number of casualties of all wars from 47. As on date, 28,000 names are there on the National War Memorial, 47 and after that. But you will not get this list anywhere. Surprisingly, you go check up any Commonwealth Graves site, you will find complete detail. You will find of all the killed person. You will not find. My RTI are sent. They said we don't have these details. Imagine, this is the state which we have come to. So that RTI was also answered in this funny manner. I don't. Now there are large number of graves also. Those people who were killed all over Sri Lanka. These have to be marked. They are not marked. There have been people who have gone there. They have saluted, paid homage. Our generals have gone there, saluted. Similarly, at the Colombo Memorial, whenever a VIP goes or our army officer goes serving or retired, they salute. They play proper wreath there.
Right.
But they don't do it here. So there's dichotomy in this. We have to correct this thing. We want also a knowledge base to be built up. And typically knowledge base is very important for future generations. That is another thing we are striving for, and which we've written to Chief. We've asked for a chair of excellence. Basically, it's a dedicated study group to focus and bring out lessons. Then, of course, we've asked for declassification of Op Pawan. The government had recently announced that they are declassifying this operation about 2 years back. And however, so far we have not seen the light of the day. Both 62 and Op Pawan, they have not been declassified so far, and we are awaiting that day, because there are things connected. For example, tomorrow I want to make a movie on Sandhu. I can't make it. I can't make it because the censor board will send it to Ministry of Defence. They will not clear it. They will say okay, it has not been declassified.
Correct.
So why this kind of discrimination? This has to be done. All the flaws, all our follies are well known, both in 62R and IPK. There are no secrets. We paid off LTT to prevent them from going against us. They didn't abide by it. It's well known. How much we paid, we may not know. So such detail may not be available. But all the details, we did the training, Raw did the training. It's well known in public domain. You read any book, you will find that. And nobody denies it except those initial writers. They were a little cautious. So the point is, what are you hiding? Everything is known, but the detail only something is not known. Now, lastly, I'll come to the attempts to pursue and to, as a group we have done a lot. We brought out 4 groups. Myself and Colonel Nair has written 1 book, and Major General Mutanna has written another 3 books on this in just these about 2-3 years of our formation of this group. Next, we have made more than 35 newspaper articles we have released so far in Goa Chronicle and host of other this thing. Now, of course, in Frontier, in Economic Times, Financial Times, and all over we have taken out.
Right.
And even some in the strategic, these IDSA kind of forums also we have taken out to project our this thing. More than 15 web interviews have been conducted, including the present watch we are doing. BharatShakti.com was involved, and Strive also did a webinar for us, and now you guys have already done quite a few of them. Thanks to you guys, we are able to now project and give out our viewpoint. And as of from our side, we are privately holding the event, and we have told the next of kin that you will not grieve alone. We will be there, because you see, if you go to that memorial, it is having brick wall.
Right.
Okay, the names are written on it. And initially I didn't understand. If you see, there's a skirting, kind of a skirting at the bottom like a bench.
Right.
Then other day somebody sent me a photo of a mother grieving against the wall and sitting on the bench. I realized why they had made the bench. So the nation must understand that collective honor is very essential to bring closure to the veterans like me, and also to the next of kin. After all, legacy is not what I am. Legacy is about those guys who did not come back, those 1171 guys. So that's what we are saying, and there are tangible and intangible things which we are trying to tackle, and hopefully with some more support we are trying to drum up, we should be able to achieve that. So this is about the various issues I wanted to highlight today.
Right.
Any other question?
How do you compare the operations, the Op Vijay and Op Pawan?
See, Op Vijay, they had about 550, 558 casualties killed in that. It was again very intense. It was small unit level operations which were fought along the line of control. It was a difficult action. It was a shorter war. This was 3-year war. It went on for a few months, though the main fighting finished in about a month plus or 2 months. So that was very intense brief. High altitude has its own set of challenges, but Sri Lanka had different challenges because you were fighting with your hands tied.
Right.
So there was no clear enemy. One of the very important distinction factors which is there is that when you are fighting on the LC, your base is secure. But when you are in a foreign country, even your base is under threat. And it happened. Base attacks were very normal, and they kept happening throughout. Your stress on troops, it increases drastically. Fatigue increases. The number of manpower you have to leave behind. Suppose I have to send a patrol of 10 men. I'll be leaving about 50, 60 just to guard it. Just to give you an example. So that is the basic difference between tomorrow you do a raid across LC. You are going from a secure base, you got full facilities. Here you don't know. That guy will be watching you as you move out. LTD guy will be watching you. And they had a force multiplier in the way they had these small boys, they call Podians in Tamil. So these guys would gather information and relay it. Not only that, they would also carry logistic support for them. It may be covert and overt. Covert would be like medicines, overt would be or batteries. overt would be weapons. So this is a very major difference. So that's the basic difference is that when you operate out of country, you are on your own, especially there where the Tamilians held hostile.
And how do you look at Operation Pawan being depicted or documented in various other aspects today? What people know and what should they know?
Well, I'm sorry to say, but our own fraternity doesn't know. I got input from someone in the infantry school that people are asking what is the full form of IPKF. So even our fraternity doesn't know because it's been downplayed. It's not been brought out into the limelight, and hopefully it is brought out because the perils of committing. See, strategically, it was all good and sound. We had to go there. There's no doubt about it. Our interests were at stake. Tamilians had a sympathy wave from Tamil Nadu. They needed to be supported. Tamil Nadu government was for them. They were also supporting them. So we had to go. But you see, all these things, any endeavor fails because you don't muster up enough wherewithal to support the operation. A decision as such is never wrong.
Right.
You can't muster the wherewithal to support it and execute it. That's where the fault happened in this rather tricky operation. Now, if you look at these, say the Vietnam War, 20 years, Afghan War, 20 years, not the Afghan War, sorry, the war in Afghanistan, which the Americans fought again 20 years, Afghanistan also 20 years. So they have carried on long. Even the US took time to recognize and get their memorial made for the veterans. There was a different undercurrent. The World War II guys felt that this war was not intense enough to qualify and give them the same honor. So today we are also at those crossroads, and they finally got a proper foundation. They got it. Then they got a memorial also, and everything there for Vietnam. So it takes time, but now 35 years have elapsed. We have done 2 commemorations. So it's high time now the government looks at the legacy part of it. All other things are now secondary. Who fought what, who won, who this thing.
Anything else that you would like to add?
No, nothing from my side. All I would say is do spread the message and continue to cover our, feelings and our documentaries. So that will be great education for the whole country and the youth of today.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Vaibhav. So grateful to you.